We're here with the worst half of Seth and Beth Photography. How are you today, Seth?
You're hosting the show.
I should come host your show.
I mean, I have an amazing story too. We just keep asking about yours. Hello everyone. I'm gonna cut Paul off and start the show.
Probably a better idea.
We're here in Mexico. I'm Seth. This is Paul. Thank you for watching the Learn From Us Investor Academy podcast. We're here in Paul's Mexican villa for the week. It's astounding, and it's been incredible.
It's been awesome.
We've been playing. We're going to go into a couple topics. We've listened to some comments people want to hear about, and so we're going to talk about that. But we have been playing a lot of poker lately. Paul, you've picked up poker just in the past, 4 months? 5 months?
Not even. I think October is when we started it.
Okay. Yeah. Now, you have a basis in that you're striving to be like a chess master, right?
Yes.
And so you have a pretty high score, and you're thinking in the next 5-7 you'll get to that route. So you're very committed to this.
Very committed.
For someone with 15 businesses, you say you play chess how many hours a week?
10 to 12. Either play or practice. Mostly practice.
When I look over, you're always clicking. I can hear the little chess moves
Yeah,
going.
you like that?
And your chess coach watches a lot of our content.
Yes.
And he's great. But you just said something. I've loved poker for 20 years. I think it has more of a Western dually sort of motif to it. But it's gained in such popularity that poker's all the jam. It was even bigger 10 years ago.
10 years ago it was huge.
But we've been playing, and it's been quite fun. And, I haven't been doing quite well the last 4 nights. In fact, we all lost to Andrew the last 4 nights. And I thought to myself just before we started the podcast, it's like what you've been saying with investing, if the right play, the disciplined right play, can get you very far over the span of a 20-year poker career, poker playing. Whereas every once in a while, once a night, you will have that player that maybe plays a little more off the cuff, not as well thought out and planned, not working much of a system, where a loose player might win that night and gives you a sort of a sour feeling. And you were just amazed that you just said I should write a book. The
Parallels.
The parallels. Tell me about your thoughts on this: chess, poker, and investing.
So when I first started chess, I started to see the similarities between my investing style and chess and my chess style. So my chess style is very much trying to become more what's called positional. I'm not this all-around attacker. Let me go guts to glory. Let me go figure out how I can kill this person, put him on the back heels. I'm more of a, let me develop my pieces. Let me control the board. Let me put my pieces in a position where the other side has a hard time getting some counterplay on me. It's much slower. It's much more long-term oriented. But in the end, if you play it right, by move 15 or 20, they're literally scrambling, what do I do here? Not, hey, let me look at it. It's just literally, what do I do? And I've seen that most I don't know of any, I'm sure there are aggressive masters out there, but the guys who become grandmaster play, they tend to be more positional. In fact, there's talk now of changing, I just heard this yesterday from my chess coach, of changing the world championship to be faster because they give them so much time to think that there's so many draws because of, as you get better, when you play somebody in chess right now, somebody's going to win. Mm-hmm. As you get more higher up rating, draws become much more likely. And in the grandmaster level and the world championship, there's a ton of draws. But there's so many draws now that they're like, listen, let's do a faster game. That way it doesn't get people to think so much. So now they're going to make more mistakes, more what's called blunders.
This chess episode is brought to you by NyQuil Sleep Aid.
If for all your sleeping needs, if you need to take some during the podcast, we highly advise it. How does this parallel go to poker and investing?
Jesus Christ. So in poker, same thing as chess though, you might go on tilt and go drop a piece on purpose in order to go get a big attack going. It'll work every so often. But in the long run, if you do that, you will lose in the long run. Poker, if you go sit there and your buddy MJ was telling me the first time he played poker was at your party, he had no idea what he was doing, he won. Why? Because he had no idea what he was doing. He's probably just doing crazy things,
Yeah.
and the people who know what they're doing going, he must have something, and he doesn't have shit. Same with investing. People are always going for, I want to find that Amazon, I want to find that Google, I want to find that Facebook, as opposed to, let's be fundamentally sound. You are going to miss the big wins, And you are going to miss the crappy ones that end up becoming awesome, like Amazon. But if you invest in 100 Amazons, you're going to lose your money 97 times out of 100. And the one time it does work, you're not going to make up the difference. Same thing in investing, same thing in poker, same thing in chess. You can make a situation work if you do it enough times. But if you do enough times, it's not going to work in the long run. And those are the parallels through all three.
You were talking about at breakfast, a property in Columbus that's been totally killing it for you.
Yeah, our entire Columbus portfolio, actually. Basically, except for the one that's empty.
And you talk about the idea of most people talk about location and that how you always sort of chuckle at that. Tell us about that property and why it's so awesome.
We bought it right. Because we bought in a location where nobody wanted to be. They're like, it's a crappy location. Okay, sounds good. It's so crappy that nobody wanted to be there, so therefore the price fell, so the return skyrocketed. It's still a part of Columbus where nobody's building around us, and it's still in demand. It's just not as much in demand as New Albany or Scioto Country Club, Upper Arlington area. Well, big deal. To get there for the same rent, I have to pay 50% more money. No, I'd rather just stay here. We rehab the units, make them look great. We have 470 units down there. 100 are vacant because of this one property being vacant, and we still kill it down there. We still make tons of money down there. So when those 100 units get occupied, 90 of them get occupied, we're going to make even more. I mean, it's disgusting. And when people tell us like, oh, you're buying it, I'm like, okay, but we have the best properties. We wouldn't put granite countertops and tile backsplash. We make the properties look beautiful. Yes, they're not in a desired location, but we're the most desired property in those locations, and therefore the highest rent, and therefore huge returns.
If you want to see more about Paul actually walking through a house, we have a 2-part, soon-to-be 3-part series about basically a buy-to-rental property from start to finish. We call it Ramage. It's on Ramage up in
Maple Heights.
Maple Heights.
Yep.
So if you want to see Paul walking through a house with Andrew and their exact thoughts about what they're doing, that's a great outlet as well. So, and that leads me into what we wanted to talk about today, which is a spicy number, and we get a lot of feedback on this, and so I don't think repeating it would hurt. Is the idea of starting from scratch? So you mentioned my buddy MJ. He has since reached out to you when this Learn From Us company started developing about what I can do. I mean, we did a deal of the week mini podcast last night, and you guys are blowing my mind how you can look at particular deals and see if they're good ones. And so maybe it's a good time to go into it again about like, I'm listening to this, our viewer is listening to this. They've always heard about this mythical real estate that's always for other people. And you've convinced me it's not. It can be for me. And so I was wondering, like, go back to like the ground floor of how do we get going and how do we partner with you to do that?
So when you do partner with us, if you sit there and say, listen, I see real estate, I see the values of real estate, which is a good tangible asset, something you can touch and feel, you can control and manage, and your returns, because of the fact that they're highly illiquid, you can't just go sell it tomorrow like stocks. You're going to have to you're going to pay less for it and therefore get a higher return. Once you understand those foundations, it's about also deciding what's your goal. I'm a big believer in flipping properties and a big believer in holding and renting. The Ramage one was a house that most people would flip. We do not flip because that market is great for rentals. We get, we're into those properties $45,000 to $55,000 and we're getting $1,100 in rent. And, our returns are great. I mean, paid off in cash, we're getting 12 or 13% returns.
Now, this was a pretty rare property. Someone needed out really quickly.
Yep.
You guys had money ready. I think you said you got it for $8,000, looking to put 40 or 50 maybe into it, and the return might be $1,000 or $1,100 rent in that area.
So can I go more into that detail?
Sure.
What we have to. So one of the things we're going to teach people when they work with us is the old value investing idea of margin of safety. We don't do deals assuming they're going to go right, and we don't put in small buffers. We sit there and say, okay, if we buy this property for $8,000, let's say there's something that happens during the rehab process that costs us $10,000 more. Are we going to be okay? And guess what, Seth? That's what happened. We were going to be in this house for $43,000, and then something happened during remodel that goes, okay, we have to waterproof the entire house. $10,000 expense. And guess what? We're under $53,000. And guess what? The comps in that area are 80 to 90. We're still okay.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to teach people is that even getting in small, everybody can afford $8,000, right? You're going to pay us how much more just to learn from us. So you can afford $8,000. Be ready when that time comes, because now it's harder, but there's always people even in a strong market who need to sell quickly. That's what we're trying to teach everybody, and we're going to teach you that margin of safety. That way, am I upset about the $10,000 expense? Of course, it's $10,000 more than I want to spend.
Sure.
But am I going to lose money in that property? No. But if you wouldn't pay what that property was worth at the time, which is probably 30, would you'd be in the property now for probably what it's worth, which is fine. But why do a good deal? Wait, if you're going to do one deal a year, 2 deals a year, do a great deal. You have the time and ability to go take if anybody should be doing any regular deals, it's me, because I have to deploy a lot of capital. If you're sitting there saving $25,000 a year, you have limited capital. Go save your money for the right deal the right 1 or 2 deals every single year. The great ones. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, say someone started, was looking to start. What are the initial steps to get the thing going? We've talked about it on other podcasts. I mean, the idea of building capital, borrowing money from if you need to get investors, and start not optimizing, but utilizing at least some of the free outlets to get going.
So the first thing, the reason I was bringing that other subject up was, it's understanding what you really want. That is the first thing. Be honest with yourself.
Okay.
Be honest with yourself. And I wasn't clear about that one. Be honest with yourself about what you want. Do you want cash flow? Do you want to build wealth? Or do you want both? Because what we're going to teach you is we don't believe in using houses and apartments as rentals as a way to take the cash flow and go on vacations and go live a life. We believe in them as take the cash flow, go reinvest it back. On flips, we believe more of do a flip, take the profit, put some of it back in the business, put some of it in your pocket to go invest elsewhere. So that's the first step, is understanding what you want and why. The most important part is, why do you want X, Y, or Z? I don't care what the reason is. I need to know the reason, and you need to know the reason. Why? Go ahead.
Do you hear often people don't even
Everybody.
know why?
Nobody knows why. And by the way, that's okay. If they did know why, they'd probably be further along. I'm okay with somebody not knowing why. I love talking about the why. That's the part that gets me most excited. We'll teach you the numbers. We'll teach you what we did last night in the, that's easy. But the why is the hard part, because you have to sit there and hear somebody go, well, I want to make sure my kids have no debt when they leave college like I did. Well, why is that important to you? Why is that important to you? Well, because I didn't like the burden of having that over my head. Okay, how did that make you feel? Why did that make you feel like crap? Those things of understanding that are so important, because if you don't know the why, what are you doing? And I started to realize more of my why as time went on, and that's why my goals have shifted as time went on. I used to want to start a business every quarter. Then I got to 17 businesses, and I'm like, I want to make sure these 17 businesses do great. We sold a couple of them, and my goal actually is to get down to 10 or 12 businesses that are really, really, really great businesses. I don't want to be the richest man in the world anymore like I used to want to. I want to be a guy who just does great businesses and grows them. Same with somebody else. Paul, I don't want to have 1,000 units. Fine. That's great. I'm happy for you. I want to have 30 units when I retire that are paid off. Boom. Here's the plan. Why is that important to you? Well, some of my parents, they struggled in retirement. Great. I realize that Social Security won't exist for me. Great. Somebody says to me, Paul, I want to have 10,000 units. Great. Let's figure it out. Because I'm no different than everybody else. Yeah, I started with a few more bucks than everybody else. Don't get me wrong. But I went and took that and parlayed it. Everybody who's signing up with us has a few bucks. They're part of the top 5 or 10% of wage earners in this country pretty easily. You can figure out a way to get you higher. One of the biggest property owners in Cleveland they own like 11,000 units, and they're a former married couple, and they started with the Carlton Sheets like get rich quick kind of scheme thing, and now they have 11,000 units, and they're huge. 11,000 units. Were they special? I don't think they even went to college. Maybe they went to college, or they went someplace like Cleveland State, which isn't well known for being an awesome school. But that's the whole point. Anybody can do it. The hardest part for me is when people come to me and say, I want to do this, and then say, okay, here's your first task. Well, okay, how bad do you really want it? If you're not willing to do the first step, how bad do you really want it?
Yeah, well, you say partnering with you is that the first step is once we've established the why, I think most people are concerned about financial, money. What is what is the perfect client that's going to sign up with Learn From Us? What is the non-perfect client who may not feel like they're ready? Like, what is the range people need to be in to be ready ready to get going with you?
If you're open to the fact that it might be different than what you thought, you might think that, I'm just going to take my 25 grand and go borrow 100 grand from the bank. Maybe a bank will sit there and say, if you want to do flips, they're probably not going to give you that money. You have to figure it out in some other way, shape, or form. Nobody wants to use family. I absolutely tell people to use family. Go borrow money from family members. Tell them, hey, I'm going to pay you back this rate of return. And if they trust you and love you, they'll probably give you a shot. If you ask 10 family members for $5,000, you probably can get that done. If you tell me you can't, then I don't know what to tell you. I mean, there's multiple ways to skin a cat. And most people, when they start with us, don't realize all the ways in which they can do different things. You know what I mean? Even you and I talking about your business, you're like, I never thought about that. It's like, and I'm not saying I'm some savant. I'm just sitting there saying there are multiple ways when you think outside the box, that cliche, you can get things done. And that's what we hold people's hands for. It's like, okay, well, I don't want to go to a bank. Why not? I don't like having debt with an institution. Great. How about owing your family members? Well, I'm okay with that. Oh, okay. Somebody else might say the exact opposite. I don't want to owe my family members. I have no problem paying 12% interest to a bank, a lending institution, than 5% interest to family members. Fine with me. I used to work in the car business. Remember, a kid came in one day, first loan ever for a car. He was 18 years old. His dad was there. He goes, yeah, I'm buying this car. I'm like, dude, your interest rate's 24%. He goes, yeah, I know. I go, why don't you have a co-signer here? And he's like, it's just important to me to do it without my father's signature. And the dad goes, I tried. But it was important to the kid that he pays 24% interest because he wanted to start, quote unquote, on his own. Whatever that means. You know what I mean? More respect to him. That's great. That's awesome he did that. But it's those things are the understanding parts at the very beginning of what makes you feel comfortable, what makes you feel uncomfortable. You might sit there and say, Paul, I don't want to borrow from the bank. I don't want to borrow from family and friends. I've got 10 grand a year and I want to be worth $20 million. And I'll say, great. I want to be married to this supermodel. I want to have sex with her. I mean, all these things, I'm like, that's not realistic. And at that point, I'd be like, listen, I don't think you have realistic expectations. I once heard somebody say to me, a realtor, I like low risk, high return investments. Oh, okay. Sounds good. By the way, do I think there's such a thing as low risk, high return? Absolutely. But it's the perception of it. And the fact that this person was bringing that up showed me they didn't understand what that really meant. And I laughed at them. I said, get out of my, and I literally said, get out of my face here. I was like, this is ridiculous. But I want to understand, are you even realistic on what the potential is? You know what I mean? That's such a big thing. Your potential is whatever you want it to be. But if you're not willing to do what it takes to get there, the potential is zero.
Speaking about skinning a cat, did we have AP Bio together in 1997?
I never took AP, but I hated bio.
'Cause I did
And that would have
skin a
been
cat.
that'd been 98 to 99.
Oh yeah, 98, fall 98. I did skin a
did
cat.
skin a cat?
Yeah. There's one way. So yeah,
I wonder where that came from.
it's absolutely one of your top 5 taglines.
Well, I get it from
It's a can I make a comment? Can I make a comment? There's multiple ways to skin a cat.
I got that one from my friend Michael Moskal, who the only person in the world I trust about investments, and he's always said multiple ways to skin a cat. And I used to actually not agree with him and said, no, there's only one way to invest. He's like, no, now over time I've gotten, no, there are different ways. It's just a matter of what's your goal. You have to do what's right for you.
And for the ladies watching, our 25% demographic, check out these shorts from Camera B. I mean, that is some good thigh there.
You like that?
At least you have a tan.
I shaved my legs this morning.
You know, I do understand exactly what you're saying because you and I have discussed how to get my real estate going and how to get going. And then I realized, wow, the first step is this is going to be more work. We got to get going.
You have
know
a
what I mean?
lot of things going on, Seth.
Yeah. Well, no, just everyone does. I mean,
But that's the thing.
You've coached me, like, thinking I'm busy over other people.
By the way, there's a difference. I've not said that. What I've said is saying you're busy is
Yeah.
not doing anything for you. You are busy. You've got a lot of stuff going on. It's about prioritizing and saying what's most important to me.
Prioritizing, making the right sacrifices the way you want to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, there's got to be some fear behind it too.
For you? Oh, for sure.
I can't imagine blasting out on Facebook that it seems so silly now that I say it out loud. It's just like, hey, Beth and I are now interested in some real estate. We have some capital. If someone needs out of their house in the next 6 months really quick, let us know.
Well, we
can
do it
s-
a little bit differently, but yes.
How do you do it?
I don't want to give that away because that is one of the things we do that we get deals a little bit.
Oh, a teaser.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, the whole point is with you guys, when you and I talk, Seth, you say you have fear. What's the fear? Be honest.
The fear is getting into more work.
Yep.
That I'm already doing. Maybe like you said, thinking that I'm overly busy when maybe I'm not obviously working as efficiently as I need to be. But and frankly, I think the idea of learn from us and real this all started with the idea that whenever someone talks to you, you do have a comment and a thought about where they could be going, and you don't let people use common excuses. I'm busy. I'm at the office 80 hours. You don't let people off the hook, much like a personal trainer wouldn't say, I got busy that day, I'm tired today, blah 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 blah. And so that's been the catalyst of getting this going, is that a lot of people just wanted to hear you help them get going.
And for you, the hardest part for you has been, we're good friends now. I don't want you to take it as me saying a negative on you. I'm sitting there saying, to me, is saying I'm busy is the nice way of saying it's not important to me. But we've understood I'm busy to be a great thing to say because of two things. One, it gets you out of something. And two, boy, that person's busy. Look how important they are. They're busy. To me, I just sit there and say, listen, I've got limited. What I tell people is, I'm at the luxury point in my life now where time is my commodity. I'm playing chess because I want to play chess. So if somebody wants me to come teach them real estate and take away from my chess time or my now guitar time or my tennis time or my basketball time, guess what it's going to cost them? A good chunk of change. Why? Because I enjoy doing that. For me to go leave that, it's got to be worth my time. But it's no different for you. Your time is all these things you're working on and your family. The one thing I've always heard you say is your family. You're very close to your wife and kids. I don't know why, though. I mean, they're not that special. I'm kidding. They're awesome. I look at that. I look at that, though, I'm like, that's great. To me, I think that's awesome. But at the same token, I want you to sit there and realize when you first came here with me, you, Rahman, and your wife, Beth, you said like, you never thought so many things were possible in life, right?
I've mentioned that multiple times.
You have.
The best thing I could have ever done was pay off my house early, pay for my kids' college, maybe retire.
Yeah, and now it's, my comment to you is, well, whatever you want, we can figure out how you get there. That's the easy part. It's the implementation that's the hard part. And people are going to have a hard time with me maybe when I say, okay, you just don't want it bad enough. I don't say that as a criticism. I say that as a, oh my God, look how freeing this is. I don't want it bad enough. I love it when I realize I don't want something bad enough. It's so freeing to me. When I go, I don't want to do that anymore. Well, why? If we're honest, like you talk about Hank, like,
My son.
Yeah, Hank, his son who's 5 years old, who's adorable and plays and wrestles. And if he says, I don't want to go to wrestling anymore, what are you going to say to him?
Yeah, there's that balance of like, you're going.
Yes, because he's 5.
Okay, you're not. Now, I hate when they replace I don't want to wrestle anymore with I want to go watch TV.
Well, of course.
So.
But
yeah.
Can I finish real quick?
Yeah. Can I finish? Can I finish, Larry?
I
Remember that?
yeah, I do remember.
Saturday Night Live, Ross
Yes,
Perot,
that's great.
Dana Carvey. Can I finish, Larry?
That was old school.
Go ahead. That was from the 90s. Wow. I cut you off, though.
That's
I'm sorry.
okay. Let me get back on track what I was saying. Oh, so, no, that wasn't it. Oh, so no, when we're talking about it, even I hold myself accountable, though, saying, do I really not want to do this anymore, or am I being lazy? That's the hardest part about everything is, am I just giving myself an excuse, or do I not want to do it anymore? It is routine in my week. You always call me and go, Paul, I know you're super busy. I'm like, really, I'm not. Like, at least once a week, I'm walking around the office telling Mary, Lisa, and Andrew I'm bored.
Mm-hmm.
I literally walk around saying, I'm bored. They're like, well, do something. I'm like, well, and is there other things I could do? Of course there are other things I can do.
Yeah.
But even I get lazy. Of course, we all get lazy. But the good news is I have immense guilt about those things. I end up picking up a book and reading or doing something else or playing chess, or at least I'm activating. I'm not playing, World of Warcraft or something like that. I'm playing a strategic mind game that keeps me sharp. That's why there's a stack of books on my desk. Not because I'm trying to brag about, look how much I read. It's because if I do have downtime, I need to bring the books in. But I've given because I get so much stuff done, though, is why I have so much downtime. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what I want us to all focus on. So when I talk with people, it's really hard. I have a balance to say of like, how much do they think I'm going to be insulting them versus just saying, no, it's awesome that it's not worth your time. Go find something that makes you go, I want to do this. It is so important to me. Look at you in photography. And look at all this stuff. You know what I mean? I was just looking at every single time we sit down to the podcast, I'm like, what if I did this myself? What would this look like right now?
Well, I mean, I was thinking the same thing last night when you guys were talking about deals for our deal of the week. And it's like, by the end of it, I was like, there's absolutely no way I could start investing in real estate by myself. I mean,
Yeah.
It's not possible.
And by the way, it's possible. You probably wouldn't do as well, but it's possible. You'd learn a lot of expensive lessons.
I'm even a real go-getter. I mean, like,
Oh yeah.
if I need to hire someone to do something, I just learn how to do it. You know, build a website, build a photography career, produce a podcast, which I just Googled 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, we've done 12 already. No, but look at that. You didn't know how to do a podcast before, right?
Nah, no, never did one.
How does this look?
It looks great.
Everybody who's listening on Spotify, iTunes, and all the other places, go to YouTube and look up these podcasts and tell me the quality isn't phenomenal. The
Yeah.
quality's better than Joe Rogan's podcast.
It is.
I mean, in terms of the picture quality.
Lighting, camera. Yeah.
And the reason is you came to me and said, Paul, here are the options we can do it. I'm like, well, how do we get better? And you're like, oh, okay. Well, how about we do this, this, and this? And I think, and to me, I don't even remember how much this stuff costs us. Please don't repeat it. I'm sure it's something I don't want. I mean, I do remember a general idea, but it's a drop in the bucket for the quality we got. And you learn how to do it very quick. You had a background on cameras. Like, you knew what a DSR camera was going to cost, a good one's going to be.
DSR.
Is that DSR? What is it? DSL? DSR? SRD?
I think those are
PMS?
Mercedes models.
No, what is
Well, but getting a DSLR.
it? DSLR. Okay, I missed a letter.
It's okay.
Next.
Yeah. Well, that's intriguing. I mean, I think most of the people are sitting in the idea of how do I get going from scratch.
What the hell was
We wanted to keep this. You know what that is? Rahman is out on the patio, and he's walking through the middle camera right now.
You're right.
We wanted to keep this real, so there's staff working right now, and there's Rahman.
Hey, Mose. Thanks, buddy.
Who was in a podcast a couple episodes ago.
That's
So
all right. Are you going to the bathroom again, guys?
Let's not bring that up.
We got pictures everyone wants to see.
So wrapping up, how do we wrap up?
Everything, you're paying us to hold you accountable. You're paying us to teach you. After
Now,
you've been-
why is this? You know, now that you say that, why are so people inclined to pay a financial advisor, yet not a real estate advisor?
That's a good question.
Maybe it's because real estate is just that extra work, and financial is like that baseline that you have to do to live in this world.
Well, part of it's also, in real estate, you're doing the work yourself, right? So you have some sort of hands-on thing. With a financial advisor, we pay them to invest for us, right? It's something we can't understand.
Yeah.
What they don't know is those financial advisors have, a financial advisor isn't there to invest for you. It's to hold you accountable, to keep you in check, and to massage you when things are going poorly in the markets, not to pick exactly what stocks and why. And that's where there's a disconnect. But yeah, people pay it all the time. They pay a lot of money. If you have $5 million in the bank, you're paying a financial advisor $40,000-$50,000 a year to manage that money for you, if not more, and other hidden fees you don't even realize.
And I would assume if you got up, for most people, if you got up to $5 million, you might be closer to retirement, where there's not too much more to manage because you've pulled back the risk.
Yeah, you might be right. You might be right completely. That's a very valid point. And listen, I'm very critical of all advisors because I have to sit there and say, what advice are you providing that can't be done on their own? Just like us. I mean, can you go find this stuff on YouTube? Absolutely, you can. But the one thing I say is, if it's on YouTube, how likely are you? There's somebody who's advising me now. I'm learning more about value investing. I'm reading the Bible of all value investing, security analysis, and it's a grind, Seth. I mean, we're talking about a grind.
I read a page, yeah.
It's awful. There's a guy in Boston who's a great value investor, or I perceive him to be. He's tutoring me in this, and guess how much he's charging me? $0. And I actually wanted to write him an email last night and say, Gary, I need to pay you for 2 reasons. One, I want to use you a lot more than you are probably willing to give me. I want to talk to you almost 3 times a week to talk about things. And 2, I want to value it more. I value something I pay money for.
Yeah.
That's very, very important to me. And that's something I've only realized in the last 5 or 7 years, that if I don't pay for it, I'm not going to value it. That's something I learned from Darnell, and you've seen Tim talk about that all the time. Tim's a very big believer in that. Like, I once tried to buy Tim a book that was $14. I bought it for him, but he was literally like, no, I'll buy it. I'm like, well, why? He's like, if you buy it for me, I'm not going to value it. I said, well, that's ridiculous, but okay. But this guy's time, I want to take a lot of time out of his day, and I want to ask him a lot of questions every week. I don't want it just to be this free load. I want to pay him for it. So that's part of the reason why. And with us, it's the same thing. It's you're paying us so that when you write the check to us and you sit there and say, I don't want to do it anymore, it's like, you just paid us. Let's go do this. And I think you're going to be more likely to go do that.
You know, I've had this on my mind, and we're getting going with real estate. I'm constantly learning from you. And like I said in the last podcast, I have friends who are hesitant.
Yeah.
And And I just sort of told them, go ahead and set a reminder in your phone for 1 year from today. When you don't do jack shit,
Yeah.
you still haven't gotten anywhere, and you can't get that year back. So
Better today. Some people's biggest worry also is, I'm 37.
yeah,
Okay, would you rather be 47 and doing this? 38, 39? It doesn't matter. Today's the only
I
day you
feel
can
like
control.
I feel like I might have already missed the boat because I didn't do this when I was 27 or 17, like you, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so, but yeah, I can't get those back. The only thing I can do is start soon. So
Today's the only day you can control. You can't control the future. You can't control the past. You can't change the past. You can only control today. That's it. So get off your lazy butt. Give us a call. We will.
we're going to be getting some sponsors here in the near future. People
We
have reached
will.
out,
We
and
will.
so that'll be exciting.
It will be.
Go to YouTube if you want to see what we look like. This banter back and forth.
We're actually
Um,
doing a poll on who everybody thinks is sexier, you or me. I think you're going to win. That beard I think it's going to get everybody to go, this guy.
Well,
Although, should I show more leg?
I appreciate that. No, there's plenty of leg. I think we're good. Go to Learn From Us page on YouTube, Learn From Us Investor Academy. There's the official Learn From Us Investor Academy,
Mr. Caddy.
Investor Academy Facebook group, where you get, if you get access to the group, Tim lets you in, and you get a little closer to Paul, and that's my wife calling. So
Aren't you the one who always says, turn the phones off?
yeah, I forgot. I told you. I just Googled how to run a podcast just this morning. So
Let's go answer your wife's phone call.
thanks for everything, Paul.
Bye.
See ya.